Welcome to Two Deep, Hokies Under the Influence, a Sons of Saturday podcast. I'm your host, Pete B. I've got my co-host, Sam Jesse, here, and we've got a very special guest, one of the original Sons of Saturday, and a lifelong Hokie fan. Grayson Wimbish is joining the show. Grayson, thanks for coming, man.
Thank you for having me, gentlemen. This is long overdue. I'm a huge fan of Two Deep. I mean, Pete, you've been doing this for many, many years, and then just when Sam joined the show and started doing it with you, it got even better. No offense. Y'all are great. Y'all's chemistry is fantastic. And if this is your first time listening to Two Deep Under the Influence, may it not be your last, because these guys do incredible work. So
appreciate that. And we were just chatting a little bit before we started that you guys go back a really long way, back to tech, maybe even back to high school.
Yeah, so we are both proud Deep Run Wildcats. So we went to high school together. We also went to the same church, and we were in the same youth group as one of the voices of the Hokies, Mr. Evan Hughes. So we go back pretty far. Like, it's Grace, I'm gonna make you feel old. We're over a decade at this point, which is a scary thing to say. But yeah, it's been, Grayson and I and his little brother Hampton, older brother Carey, we've been talking football about the Hokies for quite some time.
Absolutely.
So why don't you kick us off with a cheer, Sam, and then I want to ask Grayson just a couple things about his background as a Hokie.
Well, I was gonna have this like cheers to being friends and all that, but we got all the mushy stuff out of the way. But how about a shams bomb for our boy Nikhil Alexander Walker, free agent, signed a 4-year, $62 million deal with the Atlanta Hawks.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Cheers to that. Cheers to Nikhil getting that bag.
Yeah. I haven't poured my beer yet, but yeah. He had such a great season, and he is like the quintessential role player in the NBA now. Like, he plays great defense. He can shoot the three. He's good on the fast break. He loves to pass. Like, he's going to have a really, really nice NBA career. And he's really the first Hokie to do that since Dell.
Is he going to... Dorian Finney-Smith was a Hokie for a year and himself made a move today. But Nikhil's going to start getting closer to him in career earnings after that contract.
Yeah. Yeah. So, that's really, really cool. He deserves it. He's a great guy. Yeah.
Awesome news. Well, you mentioned youth group. I don't know if you guys saw the latest Drewski video of him like being at youth group, but I was dying laughing. And yeah, there was a time period where I did a couple youth group meetings back in the day. I was raised a good Catholic boy, but those days are behind me. But let's move on to some Hokie stuff, because tonight's going to be, let's call it a reality check. And that's what Grayson's kind of be here for. If you guys follow Grayson, you know that his fandom has been difficult as of late for him. And maybe for the people that follow him, that love the Hokies and are like looking for him for guidance, and they see maybe some not so positive things come across the timeline. We're going to get into that a little bit later. But since July 4th is upon us, we know that we are getting closer and closer to the season. A lot of lies are about to be told. A lot of positivity and hype is about to be built. But before we do that, let's get a baseline. And I want to have an honest conversation about the Hokies tonight on this show over a variety of topics. So that's what we're going to do. And just so the listeners know, Grayson, that they've never heard you before, you are a tech grad, but you've been following the Hokies most of your life, correct?
Ever since I could comprehend words and process images, really. I've said this, back when I was really on Sons of Saturday full time, and then just on every really Virginia Tech podcast I've ever been on. My first memories of watching VT football were with my dad in Lane Stadium watching Michael Vick. Like, one of the first images I have of VT football is him doing the flip into the end zone against JMU in 1999. And I just remember them like showing it on the Jumbotron over and over and over again. And from that moment, it's just been it's been quite the journey, but I love it. I'm a third generation Hokie, and I really don't know anything else. Like y'all, It's everything.
Well, you guys both beat me to the punch in terms of your life, because I didn't really start liking the Hokies till I got to Tech. So you guys were basically, when I became a fan, you guys were both already fans. So that's pretty cool to have two of you guys here to chop it up despite my advanced age. I did notice a couple news and notes before we get started. Deron Washington came back to practice. Talk about, you want to go blast from the past. Like, I think Grayson put something out there about it, but just seeing him back with Coach Young, even though that wasn't the coach that we had back then, but like with the guys, like it was really, really cool. And one of the most fun athletes to watch ever at Virginia Tech.
Dude, if he was a college basketball player in the social media age, holy crap. Like his NIL value would have been insane. And I think about how many iconic Virginia Tech basketball moments that were just him, like solo Deron Washington plays. Awesome player. And from everything I've heard, an even better guy. He had a really long pro career. I believe he played for the team in Tel Aviv.
I think
he played for a long time. So it was awesome to see him and I think his whole family was there in Blacksburg. And I believe as you walk in, I might be misremembering this, but I think I'm right. When you walk into Han Hurst, like the first thing you see is a mural on the wall of him jumping over Greg Paulus.
Yep.
And so to see like that guy coming into the building, you're like, yeah, you see him every single day. You walk into this building. That must have been pretty cool for the players.
Well, I just think it's crazy. I mean, Sam, you want to talk about getting old, man. He was on the court in Han Hurst with his son, who was like as tall as he is. And you think, well, let's maybe not repeat history and let's offer Deron Washington's son a scholarship, Mike Young and whoever the powers that be are. Let's not mess that up again.
If he plays basketball at all at a reasonable level, just
offer him a scholarship, not a preferred walk-on spot, Seth Greenberg. Anyway, yeah, I mean, it's just so cool. Like I remember being a kid. I remember where I was for that Boston College dunk. I was at my buddy Kent Ritchie's house. We were watching that game and do the hokey pokey, turn yourself around, young man. And I mean, back then, y'all, you know, in 07, back when Deron was a basketball player at VT, it's like the football team was sick and, you know, we're playing for conference championships. And then, you know, you had the basketball team and we're on the bubble every year, not really making any noise. Went to the tournament once or twice with Seth Greenberg, but you just tuned in to watch him do his thing with Jamon Gordon and Zabian Dowdell and those really, really fun teams. So it is really cool to see him back. I'll never forget I did Seth Greenberg's basketball camp, and he knocked me out. He dunked over me in a game of knockout, and that was tough.
Oh my God!
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, you were like what, 11 or something? I mean, you had to be. You were a kid, and he was a college kid. But that's so funny. And if you have never seen Deron Washington highlights, just Google it, because imagine like Toby Lawal's athleticism, but like a more like ferocious, like longer, ganglier athlete just dunking the crap out of the ball. Like that's what Deron Washington was. And he was good for a highlight every single game. The amount of times he made SportsCenter top 10 was ridiculous. And that's when people were watching like that SportsCenter top 10, like religiously. It was, that was very cool and awesome to see him back. Just similar to Gerard Evans coming back and getting his degree earlier this spring. But anyway, Coach Duffy picked up a couple commitments over the weekend. So it's good to see that recruiting class getting started. Both those girls seem like very promising recruits. So excited about the progress we're making on the recruiting trail there. We also put out a tweet about the USMNT last night when Antonio Freeman's son scored one of our P kicks to win the game. It helped us win the game. And that's crazy that Antonio Freeman's son is playing on the U.S. men's national team.
So he started at right back for him last night. I think he's only 20. And he has kind of had this meteoric rise. He's with Orlando in the MLS and it kind of like rose through their ranks really quickly. So he's a promising player, obviously very good genetic genes. And he was stone cold up there, calmly stared down Keylor Navas, who, if you don't know, was a World 11 goalkeeper, started for Real Madrid for a very long time, stared him down and buried it in the side netting. So good for him and good for Team USA on to the semifinals.
Yeah, when is that semifinal? It's got to be coming up.
Wednesday night.
Okay. All right. Yeah, this Gold Cup team, and we're not going to talk too much about that, but like they're playing with a lot of backups, as Sam was telling me. So getting that win, even though it's just Costa Rica, still was nice because we had a lot of lower tier guys in the system that were playing.
This is like the C team right now. Yeah.
All right. We also got a new pitching coach. After many years of talking about it, we hired a guy. Sam, what are your thoughts there?
Yeah, Doug Wiley comes over from Xavier. That's a program who has gotten a lot better in the time that he's been there. They made the tournament, and then they've been a bubble team the other 2 years. He's a good coach. He's coached them well. His second year there, they set the program record for strikeouts in a season. He has experience coaching at Arkansas for a while where he played. He also has experience with the Chicago Cubs organization as a pitching coach. So he brings a little bit of major league flavor that they didn't have on staff, which I think is nice. And he also brings a little bit of that SEC bravado to him as well, with Arkansas being one of the biggest programs in the country. So I think it's a good hire. He's a younger guy. It's exciting. They needed a change. So we'll see how it works out. He's got a lot of work to do in the transfer portal. But unlike the other sports, the baseball transfer portal is a little bit more low key and it's a little bit more drawn out. So we'll see in about a month where this transfer portal class is shaking up and which guys they keep from high school and things like that.
Awesome, man. Thanks for the baseball update, because Sam's my go-to guy for that. I can't speak to whether this was a good move, bad move, but I know that we did kind of need to make a change at the pitching coach position.
Everyone had been saying that. And like you said, Pete, I mean, anytime I want any Hokie baseball news, it's Sam Jesse's X account.
Well, I'll say this. The pitching coach in baseball is very much like the offensive coordinator in football, where unless, like, if anything goes wrong, they're the first guy to blame. So I think there was a little bit of that going on as well, but they did need a change.
It was a long time coming. It wasn't like he was, just came in here. He's been around a while.
Tech had that same staff for like 8 seasons. Yeah.
All right. Make sure to go to thesouthwestvashop.com for any of our Two Deep merch. You'll see the logo on the screen. You can now grab a hoodie or a t-shirt at the southwestvashop.com. Just put right in their search bar, Two Deep. It'll pop right up. And also like the video and subscribe to the Sons of Saturday if you're watching on YouTube. Grayson, let's talk about some of your tweets, if I may. Can I bring up some of those? Because they're just going to be conversation starters here.
For sure. Yeah.
All right, there was 100 days post. A lot of the teams will put out 100 days post, or even, CFB 26 will put out 100 days till college football. And on that, you quote tweeted and said, "Never been less excited." There was one about Vandy that said, "If we lose to Vanderbilt under the lights, someone please set the stadium on fire immediately and burn the whole thing to the ground." That is very high on the list of things that absolutely, positively cannot happen. And then there was one more I want to say before we kind of have a conversation here. I legitimately feel bad for the weekly content creation crowd who have to turn on those mics every week and talk about Virginia Tech football like we're headed in the right direction. It's a very tough sell. So I kind of put up a tongue-in-cheek response to the Vandy one, saying, like, I thought the line was Liberty or Purdue or Rutgers, and we managed to blow past all of those lines. Right. But we'll come back to that in a second. There's clearly a tenor to these tweets. And I kind of want to ask you how you got to this point. Was it a long time building, or was it basically off of last season that kind of broke your spirit with regard to the current administration?
It definitely was last season. I mean, it definitely was last season. And Pete, I can pinpoint an exact moment. I remember being at the Vanderbilt game in Nashville, and I saw you at halftime in that area of their stadium where kind of like there was the railing and everything to go around to the Virginia Tech section. I think Karen Worzel was there as well.
She was. We were talking to Karen.
And we were talking to Karen, and I'm like, I just remember talking to you like, can you believe this shit? Like, what? Can you believe what is happening right now? And I think you said something along the lines of, kind of. Like, as a matter of fact, yeah, I can. I wanted to think that after the Vanderbilt game, everything was we would figure it out and find a way to put together like a 9-win season. Really, the thing that broke me was the Syracuse game. When we couldn't get the monkey off our back in the JMA Wireless Dome, and I just saw that, like, I mean, we just let the curse of that place or whatever, like, we just couldn't finish the job. Mm-hmm. And the defense was terrible, and we just completely fell apart. And I'm like, we come into this season with so much hype, all this talent. We dropped bags to retain some of these kids and get kids like Aeneas Peebles to come from Duke. And you still win 6 games. And I just thought to myself, it's like, that was your chance right there. At least with this staff, that was your chance Brent Pry had his moment to get either 9 or 10 wins, and he couldn't do it there.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't care that we fired our defensive coordinator and that Tyler Bowen took a job at Ohio State and took a demotion. That season, I lost all confidence. Like, I'm not entirely positive that a new coordinator on offense or a new coordinator on defense is going to fix any problems. And I don't blame it just all on the head coach. I think there are deeper rooted issues in Merriman Athletic Facility. And I have been very, very patient with the leadership. And I've gotten to know some of the leadership that I don't think should still be employed by the university anymore. I said it, whatever. But like, it is what it is. It means too much to me now. And I'm just now at this place where it's like, I talked to Pat Finn about this probably about a month ago. I have never cared less in my life. I have never felt more out of the loop with Virginia Tech football. I imagine we'll probably talk about recruiting here in a second. Couldn't tell you what's going on. I'm not paying attention. Like,
You're checking out.
Yeah. And people will tell me, I'm not checking out. I will always, don't get it twisted, I will torture myself every Saturday and turn that damn
Okay.
TV
Okay. Well, that's good to hear.
Yeah, I will turn that TV on and I will watch every minute of the games. Come hell or high water. It's a toxic relationship. But I'm just at this point now where I'm like, until something greater than, I really think just the immediate coaching staff changes, I think changes have to be made higher. And just, whether that be the BOV or whatever, I don't know. I'm the most apathetic and checked out I've ever been. And
you're not alone. I mean, a lot of people, I think, feel the same way that you do. And it's tough because it's just, a couple bad games that really differentiated that season from being decent. The Miami game, right down to the wire. The Syracuse game, you hold on to an 18-point lead. All of a sudden, you got 8 wins. And you've beaten a top 10 Miami team. But you didn't do those things, and you lost to Vanderbilt in a home opener or an away opener that you just couldn't lose.
Well, it was basically a home opener. I mean, you had twice as many fans as they did.
That's kind of why I stumbled over my words.
We were all there.
Yeah, we were all there.
Like, we were all there. Like, and that, for me, like, Grayson, I think one thing that you hit the nail on the head was, like, everything was set up for perfection, and you just, like, tripped over your own feet time and time again. I think somebody put out the tweet this week that, was a wonderful reminder to read, that Virginia Tech was winning or tied at the 2-minute timeout in 4 of their losses. In 4 of their 6 losses, they were tied or leading. Like, at that, like, if you have the ball, mathematically, you can run out the clock at that point. On defensively, all you have to do is get one stop, and like, they couldn't do it. The only thing that is really giving me a little bit of like, okay, maybe they'll figure it out, is the fact that mathematically it's almost impossible to do that again. Like, that's how stupid last year was. And mathematically, that's the only thing. Like,
yes, it's hard to go 1-12 in one-score games.
It's really
in your
difficult.
Career.
Like, it's really difficult.
I would say to that, Pete and Sam, y'all remember Trinidad James, all gold everything?
Yes, I do.
Don't believe me, just watch. That's all I gotta say. I mean,
because at some point or another, it's in your DNA, right? It's not just a statistical fluke. It's because of something you're doing. Now, changing 4 coaches, you would think would help and would maybe mix up the juju enough and help you in in-game situations enough that shit doesn't happen like that anymore. Yeah, you're going to probably lose a 1-score game this year, but maybe you don't go 0-4. That
Dude,
would
if
be
you
nice.
can go, if Tech would have gone 2-2 in those games,
it's a much different conversation.
It's an 8-win team.
There's
it's an
also
8-win team that had a hurt quarterback and a hurt running back for most of the season.
And this is more of a little bit more meta, but like, there's also a little bit of a bad luck. Like, if Tech didn't have bad luck, they'd have no luck at all. And like, we go down to Vanderbilt, we play the best Vanderbilt team since James Franklin was there. I mean, they've been dog shit, like absolute dog shit for over a decade. And we happen to go down there the year they're able to beat Bama. Like, it's just like, it's always something, and we're like so rarely on the winning end of it. And that was just one example of a bunch of different things that happen that are bad luck, but you also make your own luck. And we certainly didn't make enough of it.
Sure.
Yeah.
I want to talk about that Vandy tweet because they are coming back to Lane this year. We're going to do our home and home, and they're going to come back and play us. And your statement is interesting because I know what you mean in that, like, that cannot happen, but we've had the cannot happens before. I think for this staff, that is the cannot happen. And that's really what you're talking about.
Right. I mean, it's everyone in Black. I mean, Blacksburg will burn regardless. If we are 0-2 through 2 weeks to 2 SEC schools, which for all intents and purposes, some might call middle to bottom of the pack SEC schools, or at least they used to be. I mean, Shane had a pretty good season down there in South Kakalaki last year. They have that defensive edge rusher who is going to, oh my God, thank God number 70's not on our team anymore. I hope it's going well on LinkedIn, but it's not like he's going to eat our lunch. And then Diego Pavi is still the quarterback in Nashville, Tennessee. So that Vanderbilt tweet, it just comes from a place of this staff can't go down to Atlanta and get their ass kicked by the son of Frank Beamer and then come home at nighttime at 7:30 and lose to the team that kind of ate your lunch last year.
Like every year I have like my naming of games where it goes from like I can't lose versus a must win versus like an opportunity game, stuff like that. Can't like you cannot be a football school and lose back-to-back years to Vanderbilt. Like you can't do it. And you can't survive as a staff if you lose back-to-back years of Vanderbilt right after you go back-to-back years losing to Rutgers. Like and think
about the Purdue loss too. Like Ryan Walters was awful. We were like his only good win in the 2 years he was there or whatever. Like it is so embarrassing.
Yeah,
how many teams can say that though, Pete? The only good loss or their only good win was against us.
It's happened so many times, Grayson. So like where we are every team's best win on their schedule. Like Marshall did it to us a couple years back. And the list goes on and on. Liberty when they beat us. Like it's, we've had so many like this can't happen shit that it can happen. And we're dealing with that 0-2. Now, I think we're good enough to beat both of the first two teams we play. And God willing, the 0-2 thing won't happen. But I agree with you. For this staff, it's not an option to lose to Vanderbilt. It is not an option.
It is. And Virginia Tech is not a program that jumps to changes quickly in any athletics, which I think is probably a good thing. But like, I don't know if you come back from that. Like, I don't know if your image comes back from that. And that's for me.
It hasn't come back from last year's loss.
No, it hasn't. But like, if you were to circle, like, what are the most important games of next year? Vanderbilt at home might honestly be one of your most important games, because if you lose that game, it's done.
It's curtains.
Like you're not gonna make it up. And
because even if you beat South Carolina, if you follow that up, as you guys said, with the loss, then you've undone everything. Like you've undone all the goodwill.
After Ohio State in 2014?
Sure do.
Oh,
sure do.
Do you remember the other East Carolina?
Yeah,
I remember every East Carolina.
What about the other East Carolina?
Yeah. Oh my God.
And then there's
four. There's four. Yeah.
Then there's that other time that we lost to East Carolina.
I'm so glad we don't play them anymore. But then we've replaced them with ODU, who got us twice. So it's like, pick your fucking poison.
I'll be fair. The people rag on the ODU thing. Tech has absolutely murked ODU for 3 straight years now, or 2 straight. I don't know how many it was.
It's 2.
And it took like our quarterback's leg being broken in 3 places and our entire team fighting each other during halftime. And one of the flukiest, weirdest games I have ever seen in my life.
Brent Pry's first game on the road in Norfolk.
So I am much more worried about what we saw last year. And Grayson, to like the point of last year, because we can talk about it forever, but like making the coordinator change on defense, retroactively, I've gone with Pete and been like, I'm actually pretty surprised that wasn't made mid-season based upon the comments Pry has made. Tyler Bowen, I think they had some rationale for, but let's just say like they replaced both coordinators. Does that give you any sort of like, okay, they're at least serious about this? Because the last staff, the issue was not making changes. And like we just talked about baseball, where the issue was not making changes. So like, does this give you a little bit of like, okay, they're trying something else here?
I think I said on record on Dan Poltz's Tales from the Terror Dome, friend of y'all show as well. He's great. But I think I said on record that I was happy about that. Like, I mean, I think that it was Pry's going to have a chance to fire people. And if he doesn't fire people, then it gets really scary a lot quicker. And he didn't have to fire Tyler Bowen, but he had to fire Chris Marv. And he did that. I didn't think he was going to do that. And I guess to your point about mid-season, Sam, like I've had so many of my friends who are more, they went to Tech, more casual fans. Like, why don't we fire him mid-season? Y'all know as well as I do, we're not that school.
We don't do that. Yeah.
We don't do that shit. We've never done it.
I'm going to be honest. I would not be like, I have zero intel on this, absolutely zero. But like with the comments that have been made in the way that Syracuse game in particular went, it was a thought. Yeah, like that was a thought. And I don't think you really gained anything from it, but like going from that Syracuse game and then to the performance we saw against Duke, which was really the one game that we have seen under Brent Pry where guys were mentally checked out. That to me was like, oof, like it's done. Like there's no coming back from it. And God, like, praise the Lord, they turned it on for UVA. But
I think one thing that Pry did with the coordinators, yeah, it's great. We got new coordinators, although he didn't want to replace Bowen and didn't seem like he was going to until Bowen decided to leave for Ohio State. Maybe he knew that was going to happen, but I highly doubt it. Pretty sure he wanted to keep Tyler Bowen for recruiting purposes and because he really believes in him. Whenever you hear him talk about Bowen, it was always how great he was. So we got off easy with Bowen leaving. We don't got to pay a buyout, and we get to get a new actual coordinator in here. So that's good. But Pry realized too late that he needed to change these coordinators. After year one, I know he was calling the plays on defense. So during that year, you couldn't tell that maybe Chris Marv wasn't the guy. I know, even if he's not calling the plays, you're not realizing that he's not getting it. Okay. Maybe that's okay. The Tyler Bowen thing, we all blamed Grant Wells. Oh, Grant Wells is just terrible. And the offensive line is just terrible. And then the very next year, again, where the offense sucks. They're awful. And then they get better when we play Kyron. So it was Grant Wells' fault, not Bowen. But now we go to year 3, and the offense never improves. My thing is he needed to realize after one of the worst offensive years in FBS history in 2022, he needed to replace both coordinators and figure that out right away because it was too long. And when we really talk about his tenure, we're talking about like a 7-game stretch that was actually good at the end of 23. That's it. Like the first year sucked. Last year pretty much sucked. We're talking about like a 7-game stretch from Pitt on. And even the Louisville game and the NC State game were garbage. So it's been such a limited amount of success that he needed to realize way before that these coordinators needed to go.
Yeah, I would also say there was the little moment in the middle of last season, like the Miami performance, they played very well against a team that was quite frankly way more talented than they were. They handled Stanford on the road, which that's the travel, the quick turnaround. It was really hot. Like that was a really good performance, even though it wasn't against a great team. You had the what game? The Georgia Tech game was a great win. It's a very good Georgia Tech game. The BC performance great. Like there was a little window there, but not sustaining that success and then turning around and making the same mistakes that you made earlier in the season, making those again against 2 very winnable games on the road, for me was like, oh, they didn't really learn anything. Like they just, like we haven't seen them succeed in that situation for 3 years now.
They haven't beaten a good team.
Yeah. And that's a little worrying for me. I'm curious, Grayson, like you said, you aren't following recruiting much, and I don't blame you because recruiting is abysmal. Like in the sport right now, it's a mess. Right. But I'm gonna ask you to guess something.
Sure.
So I run my program power rankings model every year, and I do recruiting for the last 2 cycles, and I use a bunch of different services. I look at, I try to amalgamate as much as possible. So this isn't just 247 ratings.
Cool.
Can you guess out of all the college football teams where Virginia Tech is for the last 2 cycles?
Just numerically ranked?
Numerically, yeah.
Oh, good Lord. Geez. I want to say like 77 or something.
It's not that bad. It's not that bad. 42nd in the country, right?
Yeah.
They're sandwiched in between Maryland and Houston. Right?
They've had 2 pretty good recruiting classes in the last 2 years. Like that's what this is based on, not this current one, but just the last 2 years, prize second and third year, like decent. Yeah, so 42 it's better than I thought too, Grayson.
Right. So in 2024, and I'm going to shoot out some numbers before we talk recruiting a little, but in 2024, they had 3 top 10 commits in the state of Virginia. All top 5 that year went to an SEC school. And then in 2025, they had 2 top 10 commits, Overton and Deloach. Clemson had 3 top 10 commits in the state of Virginia in 2025. Interestingly, and I'm going to put an asterisk right here. For the 25 class, Brett Clatterball, linebacker, who's really good, was when they signed him, he was number 4 in the state. He finished number 18. When they signed Micah Matthews, he was number 3 in the state. He finished number 19. He's probably playing baseball, but that didn't. They got some good guys.
Yeah, they got good guys, but then they kind of went down the rankings.
Yep.
And Deloach was very last minute to even get that one.
Do you guys like we got Brent Pry from Penn State? Correct.
Yes,
and one of the reasons he was chosen was his recruiting prowess in the state of Virginia. In the 2023 recruiting class, Penn State had 5 of the top 10 commitments. Virginia Tech had 0. By way of proxy, they now have 2 with Cam Seldon and Jordan Bass.
Yeah, and that Penn State number has gone down significantly in the state
without him.
Without,
they're just getting him from other.
They're still recruiting really well, like just not so much in Virginia.
It's like 1 year. It's like every 1 year, one team comes into Virginia and dominates the top guys. Every year,
Clemson, it's South Carolina, it's Georgia, it's whoever.
North Carolina in 2022 had 5 of them, and it's like my biggest worry right now, other than the close games thing. We brought him in to elevate Virginia Tech's recruiting, and it is pretty much the exact same as what we got from Justin Fuente. And that to me is like,
see, I disagree with that a little bit because Fuentes was at the beginning of Fuente when Chuck Canner was still here. He did well, but then it was a freaking landslide.
There was
downward.
that one class was really bad. And I did see the tweet, and this is, significant in this day and age where he's only had like 4 decommitments and 2 of them were this cycle, which is much better than most people. But like, if you bring him in to be a recruiting head coach, like you can't being sandwiched between like being behind NC State, being behind Stanford, being behind Baylor, being behind, and Texas Tech has a ton of money now, being behind Utah, like
forget the specific schools. Like we need to be in the 30s.
Need to be way.
You need to be in the late 20s.
You're not close. Like you're not close to where you need to be.
Right.
And that's, for me, that's troubling because the recruiting jump that Virginia Tech would need to make as a program is really, really drastic. And I don't know if they have proven, especially with this class, that that's a jump that they're going to make. And I'm a little bit worried about that moving forward.
Guys, I think the fans that give me a hard time for being so negative and being down or whatever, I call it being realistic. Listen, quarterbacks who played at Virginia Tech used to announce on ESPN that they were, by the way, 5-star. A kid named Tyrod Taylor, who's still cashing NFL checks, chose the Hokies between us and the Florida Gators on national television. That's what it used to be. Like that. Those were the kinds of kids.
I remember watching Kendall Fuller's commitment on TV.
Yes. And not even so long ago, Devin Hunter, at Indian River High School. I mean, that was while I was in college.
That was a big deal. Yeah.
And that was a big deal. And like, that's a little bit more recent, but I really, and this is not a slight on any kid or anything like that. We haven't really had a captivating, commit like that in quite some time. And it's just, that's what makes me sad as a fan. People are like, well, Grayson, how can you say the things that you say? And it's like, well, when in my formative years, when I knew Sam, Jesse, and Evan Hughes in freshman year of high school or whatever, Virginia Tech was playing for conference championships. We had guys like Danny Cole and Jared Boykin and Darren Evans and Rue Williams and David Wilson and Blake DeChristopher and, Bruce Taylor, Stephon Virgil, you name it. I could go on and on and on, but it was just a different tier. I mean, we used to bully teams. Even before that, Carlton Powell, Cam Chancellor, Corey Robertson, Macho Harris, Brandon Flowers. I mean, it's just, you go back and you watch that tape compared to just what it is now. It's just not the same.
It's several tiers lower. Some of that is obviously the staff, the recruiting, the administration, all that. Some of that's Virginia football maybe not being quite as good as it once was, but it's definitely more the former than the latter. I would say, like, it's definitely right. The mistakes we've made. I mean, the On3 article, A Study in Decline, Virginia Tech. I mean, yep. we all read that, and there were lots of issues being made, and it's led to you having the opinion when Carnell Warren decides to decommit. You're like, as well he should. Go somewhere where you're actually going to play for somebody good and, have a better future potentially because you're choosing a better football team to go play for. And it's realistic. Is it harsh? Maybe. But like the whole bad fan, like you've been called a bad fan. And we discussed that just a little bit. I got the same thing at the end of the Fuente era because I was fed up. We were absolute garbage. Every excuse in the book, we're poor, we're young, we're this, we're that. And I couldn't stomach it anymore. And there's some things I wish I could have had back online potentially of just complaining and whatnot. But you never would hear someone call a NFL fan a bad fan. You would never say me complaining about Jalen Hurts, which I would never do at this point, or complaining about Nick Sirianni or something. You never say, Pete's being a bad fan. He's complaining about his team because they're being paid and they're professionals. Well, we're at a stage in college football where that's essentially what's happening. Now, I realize we are alumni, fans that live regionally, and there's a certain ownership there that you don't want to be too harsh. It's a piece of you. So the college kids and the college teams, you don't generally hear the same kind of stuff you hear with pro teams. But it's getting to the point now when so much money is at stake and we're getting hit up for NIL dollars that criticism is not only warranted, but like sometimes necessary to force the changes that are needed. And so I would push back on calling people a bad fan for voicing their opinion. We all, I don't even think anything you've said is all that bad, but because last year sucked. And like the team is in such a place that you said at the beginning where we are so getting more and more apathetic, and it's tough because we're all diehards.
Right. And I'll put another little asterisk, my second asterisk on the recruiting conversation. And this is maybe more macro, less Virginia Tech. I think there's a genuine distrust between high school players and college programs now with this decommitment stuff that is making college coaches worry less about getting high school guys and worrying more about the transfer portal. I mean, I put out the tweet like this Peyton Falzone kid in Pennsylvania, who I hope has a great college career, but he commits to Virginia Tech early, stays for a few months, decommits. He visits Penn State while he's committed to Virginia Tech, immediately commits to Penn State, committed there for a few months, immediately visits Auburn and goes to Auburn, right? So he's not even at his senior year. Like he's still 6 months away from signing day and he's had his third commitment. I understand why he does it. And the exact reason he does it is because every time he commits and decommits, he gets his name in the news cycle. More guys watch his film. More guys talk about him. His ranking goes up. His paycheck goes up, right? He's going to make 3 times at Auburn his freshman year what he was going to make at Virginia Tech with proving 0 on the field, right? And that's the reality of where, and that's not as much about a commentary on him as it is a commentary on that's where high school recruiting is right now. And you have to be a program that can deal with that. And I understand. I think we're not set up to play Monopoly with high school recruits. And I think Brent Pry, knowing that, probably isn't going to do it. And I would not be surprised if this 26 recruiting class is like 50 to 60th in the country.
I mean, it seems at this point, Sam, and I'll just give the people the numbers. We have 7 commits. Tomorrow's July 1st, and I'm pretty sure it's going to stay that way. So 7 commits. One's a kicker. So 6 position player commits on July 1st. There's only one team in the country, in the power conferences, I should say, but it might be in the entire country, that has fewer commits than us, and that's Colorado, who we know is just going to fill up on.
Plays a different game.
Completely different game.
That today, Pete.
Yeah. And so now you're at a point, and I realize we've got commitments coming up. We changed a bunch of coaches. How many other teams change coaches? A lot. There's 9 new defensive coordinators in the ACC, but we have the fewest commitments. Like, why does it have to be us? Like, that shit pisses me off. So then I see, after I tweet stuff like that, and all I did was I went with just the facts. I didn't put any editorializing on it. And I get a lot back. Well, like, portal recruiting is more important than high school recruiting. Not for a school like fucking Virginia Tech. We can't be awful at high school recruiting. We can't go buy an offensive line. We can't. Like, not even the good schools can't do that. You need to build at the very least on the lines. And so the Wilder commitment, it's you want to say like something that can't happen? Like, we need that commitment. Like, if you don't get that one, this class is fucked. Yeah.
We need bodies. Like, you're with 7. I mean, to put it in perspective, you're 17 players away from a full class at that point.
It feels
like you got a lot of work to do.
Yeah. Y'all have seen The Longest Yard, right? Okay. And I'm talking about the Adam Sandler one, not the original with Burt Reynolds as Paul Wrecking Crew. I'm talking about it, but it's the same plot essentially. It feels like, Brent Pry is kind of Paul Wrecking Crew going out and he's like, listen, man, will you play for me? Like, he's going out into the yard and he's just trying to find anyone he can get to play football for us.
Well, and that's what killed us at the end of the Fuente era. How many guys did we recruit at the end there where they had one P5 offer and it was from Tech? Yeah. That happened. Yeah. That happened 15 times in the last couple classes. And all those guys filtered their way out of the program when Pride came in because they couldn't play. Right. And now I fear that that's where this class is headed, because as Sam was indicating, like, we're in 93rd right now in the country. And everyone will say it's early. It's not that early. It's really not. Yeah. And
it's tomorrow.
and we could get 3 commitments next weekend and shoot up to the 70s. And maybe we'll get out of last place in the ACC. That would be amazing. But even at the end of this cycle, where we are now, getting out of the 50s or like getting out of the 40s seems impossible. Getting out of the 50s seems like a long shot. And like, that's not what we should be doing. Like, that's not where Tech should be in year 4 of a head coach. But it is. And it sucks, man. And this is when you start to see if the recruiting's going to go like this and you don't beat South Carolina to change the narrative real quick, that might be the only bullet left.
It's scary.
Yeah. Tech did bring in 30. They had 30 transfers in, 30 transfers out this year.
It's a ton.
I do think they lost some star players. They also lost some players that mentally checked out towards the end of the season, but they lost some star players. But a majority of the guys they lost went down level significantly. A lot of the guys that they're bringing in, I mean, we have guys coming in from Auburn, from North Carolina, South Florida, West Virginia. Scrolling down the list, Donovan Green was great at Wake Forest. A few more West Virginia, Cam Selden, Tennessee, Sherrod Koval, Clemson, Terrian Stewart was great playing at his level. So, like, the emphasis is clearly on the transfer portal, not on high school right now. They can say whatever they want. They can say it's 50-50, and they can say, hey, we're doing what we can. The emphasis is clearly on the transfer portal right now. And I'm kind of with you, Pete, here. Like, I don't know if that's sustainable.
It's not. Well, the problem is, and we've seen Dion already do this a couple times, and we're waiting to see how it turns out for him. But when he tried to go all in last year, right? Grayson said it right at the top. Like, we paid these guys last year. It's kind of like, this is our all in year. We're going to go grab a couple pieces and we're going to go for it. And then that didn't work. And then we lost all that talent. And now we're doing it again. and then you're letting the recruiting for high school slip. Like, how many times can you do this? You can't go all in again and again and again.
It's like the one and done teams in college basketball. It's kind of the same thing almost. It's like, Coach Cal, while he was at Kentucky, he had a lot of great basketball teams, but eventually you hit a ceiling because these guys don't have any friggin' chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't played with each other for a long time. And that is truly, guys, like the sad part about today's college football game. Back in the day, Brian Randall, he played his college experience predominantly with the same guys all throughout. Tyrod Taylor, it's the same thing. Even Logan Thomas, the same thing. He really played with the same guys, give or take maybe Jake Johnson.
There was a few transfers, but nothing like now. And when you add 30 transfers a year, which we've never done. This is like 3 times the amount we've ever had. Like, I think the most we ever had was like 11 or 12. And so 30 transfers, it's a roulette spin. We saw it with Florida State last year. When you add that many new pieces in 1 year, you do not know what you're going to get because these guys just got to the school. They don't have an allegiance. They have the ability to check out earlier than most guys. And if it doesn't all fit together and it starts to go bad, you can be 2-10 after going undefeated. And so, like, that's the scary part about relying on the portal so much is it makes it so much more volatile, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Yep. Do we want to move on to this year?
Yeah, let me do a quick ad read because college.
We also need a beer break.
Yeah, we got to do that real quick. So, 2 Deep Hokies Under the Influence is brought to you by Compass Coffee. We got a new sponsor, an old sponsor, but they're back again with 16 locations in D.C. and Northern Virginia. Compass is quickly becoming the go-to cup of joe in our nation's capital. They were founded by 2 Marines back in 2014, and their goal was simple: make the best cup of coffee, one that points you in the right direction every day, kind of like a compass. Right now, they're offering our listeners 20% off their first order using code 2DEEPVT. So go to their site or download the Compass app and load up your cart. Code 2DEEPVT for 20% off your order. Compass Coffee. Great coffee doesn't have to be complicated.
Do they have K-Pods? Do they do cured K-Pods?
I think they might actually.
I know, Sam. I'm sorry, man.
I've ordered Grayson, a ton of the bags. I've never ordered pods, but
you're in LA and you're using non-reusable K-cups.
Listen, man. I got to deal with the paper straws, so you got to get it where you can.
As someone who is like addicted to coffee, Compass Coffee is very, very good coffee.
Yeah, it
is very, very good. So if you are a ground coffee person, 10 out of 10. It's some of the best that I've had in this area of the country. Yeah,
absolutely. All right, let's take a quick beer break. Sam, what are you drinking?
I'm drinking. This is actually so for the month of July, I'm going to go through on the show the Sam Adams Summer Pack. I picked it up this evening. This is the blueberry lager. Our friend Robert Irby just put this in the chat. I love blueberry anything, blueberry pancakes, blueberry muffins, blueberry beer. I love. So I was excited to try this one. I'm not always a huge Sam Adams fan. It's a nice golden ambery color. I don't know. It's not blue. Light, so it's not blue. That would be cool, but it's not blue. It is really good. Like the aroma is very blueberry. The flavor is hint of blueberry. It's really light. It's a great hot weather drink. It's still a Sam Adams though. So it's probably the bottom tier of what you're going to get from a blueberry beer. But it is, considering that it comes out in the 12 pack to like $1.20 per beer, very good for that. So the Sam Adams Summer Pack, 1 for 1 right now with the blueberry lager. If you like blueberry beer, get it.
Can you drink more than one of those back to back? Or is it too sweet or something?
You could drink probably 10 of these back to back.
Okay. Robert did say he liked it.
Jeez.
It's really light. It is like, it tastes much more like a cider than it does a beer, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
I was gonna say, how sweet is it? Because
it's sweet, but it's not candy sweet. It's fruit sweet. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Grayson, even if you're not drinking right now because it's a little earlier on the West Coast,
yes,
have you had any good beers as of late that you want to talk about or anything?
Honestly, yeah. I mean, I was I don't know if y'all have heard of Firestone Walker. I mean, I'm really not.
Yeah, of course. I love Firestone.
It's great. I was drinking their 805 blonde the other day. That's a great beer out here. Their main, like, I guess, tap room is down at Venice Beach. And so I was there the other night. It's funny. I used to actually work at a tap room here in LA for 2 years. And I had a lot of great, like, Mexican lagers, Topa Topa, plenty of stuff like that. But really, it's funny. My old boss, he used to give me a hard time because, dude, I love American domestics, Miller Lite, Bud Light, Coors Light. I'll drink them all. I don't care. Give it to me in a glass bottle and I'm good.
Yeah, I don't turn my nose up at any beer. Sometimes, like, after I drink the IPA, I finish with one of these bad boys, which is a Coors Light or a Miller. I had a Miller when we did our NBA draft pod just last week. But you need those in the summertime. You need to drink something light, something refreshing. I'm starting off with a double dry hopped Forever Ever from Other Half. This is a place that Sam may end up frequenting when he moves up. This is double dry hopped, but it's not an Imperial. It's only 4.7. It's kind of like a session IPA, the Forever Ever. Great drink from Other Half Brewing, which I have had on the show plenty of times. Very good stuff. I also wanted to remind you guys that Sam is doing his summer countdown of Power Conference teams. He's trying to do 67 videos. That's a lot of freaking videos, dude.
Well, you get better and better at them as you go along. The last one we put out was Oklahoma State, which I think is a really interesting team this season with Mike Gundy, a legendary coach that might be on his way out. So that's interesting. We're keeping the countdown going. We've got Maryland and West Virginia coming up here soon. So keep with that. I'll put them on my Twitter. They'll be on the Sun Saturday Twitter. But most importantly, they'll be on YouTube, on our YouTube Shorts. Quick shout out to the YouTube channel. If you want to support the Two Deep Show, if you want to support Sons of Saturday in general, but you don't want to spend money for it, that's the best thing to do for us. So that's the best channel to consume Sons of Saturday content for us.
It's all free content. Just give us the likes. Yeah.
Yes. Like and subscribe, please.
Are y'all going to Atlanta? Like, just real quick.
That's the perfect transition because I was just about to ask you about the games you're going to this year. Are we meeting Nikhil Alexander Walker in Atlanta?
We should get him there. He'll be there.
Honestly,
I mean, we should.
Sons is doing the party again. I know Sons of Saturday did that.
Park Tavern, yes. Buy your tickets. Information on Twitter and on Instagram on the Sun site. Park Tavern's having a open bar from 3 to 6 the day before the game on Saturday. Should be fun. Saturday in the South. But go on, Grayson. Are you attending?
I was going to say, those are a riot, man. I remember, like, once upon a time doing those at Sharky's, doing the bar tabs at Sharky's, and those were always so much fun. So, yeah, absolutely. Go get your tickets to that, y'all. I will not be there, but I'm actually the only game I'm eyeballing this year. I just spent a solid 10 months unemployed, so your boy needs to work. I just got a new job, started back in May. I'm eyeballing the Cal game.
Friday night.
Yeah. I know there's a few night games this year. I'm an October baby. That game is in October. I always love coming home in the fall in Virginia. I mean, fall in Blacksburg. What are we talking about? Chef's kiss. Yeah. Pat Finn, the spring in Blacksburg is not goated. Sam knows it. Pete knows it. Bunch of bullshit, dog. But
I agree.
Only really the Cal game, and I have not pulled trigger on that yet. But if I were to come to a game, I think it would be that one. Just to have, like, Saturday after, win or lose, just to maybe just visit with mom and dad and maybe my brothers. But I usually try and affiliate the game that I come home for in and around my birthday, which is October 20th. So
let me ask you this. If we had won 9 games last year, would you be in Atlanta?
Yes. Yeah.
I knew the answer to that question. I go ahead, Sam.
I know. I got to be honest. Like, 2 games in Atlanta, way easier to get to than Blacksburg.
Yeah,
way easier. Like,
Blacksburg, we play GT down there too.
So here's the thing, y'all. To that point, Sam, your boy Grayson's record in Atlanta is no bueno. So I was there in 2009 against Bama.
I went to that one. Yeah.
And then I was there in 2006 for the Peach Bowl, where we folded like a tent against the Georgia Bulldogs.
Oh, and that was ugly.
And am I missing one? Did my family go to?
Well, 2013 we played down there.
I didn't go to that. And
Okay.
so I think after those two collapses, not collapse, because we did pretty well against Bama, we kind of said, I don't think the Atlanta games are for the Wimbish family. And we omitted the Peach Bowl against the Tennessee Volunteers, and we won it, and we're like, we're not going to Atlanta anymore.
Yeah.
So I'm going to stay away.
Grayson, I need you to look into the camera real quick. It's not your fault. It's not your fault.
Shout out to Goodwill Hunting.
Yeah.
And Robin Williams, may he rest in peace. It is not my fault.
Yeah, I've been charged with that same thing too. Like, oh, Pete, you go to every game that we lose. It's like, we lose a lot of games. Like, it's not on me.
Now, granted, back then we didn't lose too many games.
That's true.
So in 06 and 09, it was a little bit different than now. But, I mean, y'all are going to have a blast. And win or lose, I mean, let's keep it all
you have to prepare yourself for the loss. Now, last year, even before last year, I had opened my mind up to the idea that we could lose. I was fully aware. I told my wife that. I said it when we did the preview panel with Boundary Corner that I was nervous about the Vanderbilt game. And boy, howdy, did that come true. But this one, it is kind of like, I'm going to Atlanta to have fun. And if the Hokies win, it's a bonus. Like, that's how you have to view it. Because from the outside looking in, as someone who's not going to go, like, what is your confidence level that we can pull off that win, Grayson? Like, is it 0? Is it 1%?
It's 0. I really hate to be that guy. And Pete, I share the sentiment. Like, anyone who's going to that game, they're going to have a good time. They're going to be around everybody else. They're going to go to Mercedes-Benz Stadium, which it looks like a spaceship. And, like, we've never played.
I want to see the stadium for sure.
Yeah, like, we've never played in there. And, I mean, Atlanta's such a cool city. It's a great sports town. If I could recommend anything, go to the World of Coca-Cola. It's the best museum on God's green earth. It is so freaking dope.
Oh, nice.
Do that over the aquarium. Take it to the bank. As far as beating Shane in week 1, I just don't. I think they're going to beat us by multiple touchdowns. I don't know. I just don't feel good about it at all.
Yeah. I think you're one, and we'll have multiple podcasts covering this, so I don't want to give too much away, but, like, I think the 2 new coordinators thing might be an ace in the pocket for Virginia Tech. And I also think, Shane Beamer's teams have never been known to be good at the start of the season.
True.
And that's a team with a lot of turnover too. Like, I don't think it's a 0, but I'll agree with you, Grayson, that it is not looking good. And I would not put it on my highly likely list. I definitely think they start 1-1, and I am leaning Vanderbilt, to be honest.
Yeah. You got to win one of those games.
You got to win one. And the vibes of the 2 programs in terms of South Carolina and Tech, like, you want to talk about going opposite directions. Like, could not be the vibes wise. Now, in terms of
Vandy last year.
Right. What's on the field? We both lost very similar amounts of talent to the NFL. Like, I think we both had 5 draft picks. They had a ton of guys at the combine, as I've said many times on this show. They're replacing a lot, and we both have our quarterbacks back. There's a lot of similarities to both teams. It's just that they've got the juice and the momentum, and we don't. But we had it last year. So I have hope. I do have hope for Atlanta, but like Sam kind of said, we'll talk about that another time. As for how you see the next 2 years kind of playing out for Virginia Tech, Grayson, will this be Pry's last year, in your opinion?
Yes.
Yeah.
I actually do think that. And I don't say that to, sound like an asshole. I don't say that to be pessimistic. I really do think it will be his last year. I think we're going to win 5 games in 2025. And if that happens, he's gone.
Yeah.
Like, you give him the chance to bring in some new coordinators, but the fan base, the board of visitors, whoever it is, and by the way, no disrespect, Whit Babcock doesn't get to hire a 3rd football coach. So
Definitely
no
not.
AG does. No AG
Definitely
does.
not.
Right. So it's like, if Pry's gone, so is Whit Babcock. And that's phase 1. What happens after that? Should it go the way I think it's going to go? I'm not the oracle.
Here's a question for you guys. If Whit Babcock can't hire a third football coach. And we've already lost Kenny. The Diamond Sports lose before they should every single year. He fucked over Mike Young last year with the roster and the money.
Yeah.
Why is he still here now? If he's not going to hire the next football coach, what's the point of him being here now? Because then you've got like dual searches going on. Like there's no point to him being here if he can't hire another football coach. There's not.
The answer is not going to be one that's satisfactory, and I'm sorry about it, but it's politics. And I don't mean politics like Republican, Democrat. I mean politics like he is the athletic director for the largest university in the state. And that is not a decision that is made because of a couple of close losses on the football field, not in this state.
Yeah.
And I think, like, as much as we want to be that school that gets rid of their AD, like, it's very, very few schools rage quit on the AD. Like, occasionally a private school will, like I think USC did a few years ago, but it's just
not a rage quit after a decade.
Yeah, but it's just not a move that happens because of results very often. It's usually because they find another opportunity and take it. Rarely are they fired by the Board of Visitors.
I'm just saying, if you look at just the last couple of years.
I agree, though. I agree, dude. I agree.
It's Kenny, it's Mike Young, and it's the football team. And none of which ended up well. Now, Mike Young won every argument this offseason, right?
Y'all see that picture? Y'all see that picture?
He did, because they're going to be probably pretty good this year. At least we hope so.
That's a man. That is a man who got his way in the offseason. Let me tell you all something, just as an anecdote, kind of to what we're talking about, and I found it very interesting. Back in May, I was at a wedding down in Tuscaloosa, and the bride of the groom, my buddy Dylan, her dad works for the University of Alabama, so we kind of got the VIP tour to the Alabama football athletic facility. We got to be in Bryant-Denny Stadium. Fascinating. A lot of national championship trophies. And I was asking Mr. Acker, the bride's dad, I said, what's the temperature on Kalen DeBoer? And he and a few of his buddies were like, year one is over. And they're like, man, I don't think he's going to last that long. And it's like, just the stark contrast of like, they're already out on this dude.
And that's one of the winning, like by percentage, one of the winningest coaches in his first 10 years in college football history.
They're already out on Kalen DeBoer down in Tuscaloosa. Here, you get 17 years to go 500. And it's just, it's tough. It's really tough.
It is tough. And I know, Sam, I completely agree with what you had to say about the AD. Like, it's in my head, I was just thinking about it today. It's like, it really doesn't make sense for him to be here any longer.
No,
the most successful program,
you got it.
I can't talk, but they play, it's the wrestling team. Like, they're not even really part of the athletic department. They're funded by the Southeast Regional Training Center. Like, so like what's the good part? I'm waiting for the good part. And it just seems like, if we're talking about what's going to happen over the next 2 years, does 6-6 get pried another year? Well, if his ass is on the line, it certainly seems like he's going to try to give Pry as much time as possible, because that means he's got to go too.
Grayson, I think you need to, like, there are some people who, and I'm not saying Grayson is one of them, there are some people who treat it a little bit like pro sports, and they say, like, I hope the bottom falls out and we have to change everything. Like, they're forced to. The issue is you don't get any draft picks. Yeah. All you do is lose out on money. You lose out on TV slots for next year, which is how Virginia Tech is going to get paid moving forward in the ACC, is by time slots on TV. And thank God they have a lot of night games this year. Yeah. You lose donorship. You lose any sort of momentum you are able to build on the recruiting trail, and all your players leave. So, like, the people who are saying, like, man, I hope we go 2-10 and the bottom falls out, you're talking a 5-6 year rebuild at this point if you do that.
And it gets so nasty.
It does. And it's like, you gotta, that's why just making a bowl game, I know it's gonna piss Tech fans off if Tech goes 6-6 and he keeps his job. I know it is. But you don't want the worst case scenario.
Not
you really don't. You
I
really
want to
don't.
win every game. And it's the tough thing is, I guess the flip side of that coin is like part of you wants to bottom out. So change is, I mean, hands are forced.
We
right?
know why. There's the thought process.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I mean, the pride of going to Virginia Tech, being a lifelong Virginia Tech fan, being a third generation Hokie, it's like, dude, screw that. Like, I want to win every game. And I've tweeted this also. You know, it's not been all bad. It's like, this is Pry's show me something season. Okay, you hired 2 new coordinators. Show me something. Put it together. It's like, when he got hired, I wanted nothing more than for him to be the guy. I still want it. Like at my core, in my chest, I still want that. Mm-hmm. I just don't think that. I just don't think it's gonna work.
It would have been great and still could be great if he's the guy. He is very Virginia Tech like. Right. But even with him, Grayson, do you think you've seen a little bit of change in the way he carries himself since like the year ended, over the last 6 months in interviews and stuff? Because I feel like I'm sensing a change.
I agree with that. I mean, I really liked the fire. You could tell after that Miami game, he was livid. Like, you really could see it. I mean, we were all livid, but I was so happy when he got up behind that podium and he's like, I really hope they got that right.
Yeah.
Basically telling Jim Phillips, F you. Like, you know, are you serious? Like, that really just happened. Mm-hmm. So I agree. Like, because those first couple of seasons, Pete, it was kind of, a lot of people didn't like Coach Fuente because there wasn't a lot of fire. It was rare. Like, you would catch glimmers of it where he'd be really, really hot-headed. But other than that, you know, Pry would be there on the sideline, arms crossed, and he'd write on his notepad, which has now become a meme in Virginia Tech fan lore, that every time he writes on his notepad, it's like something's gone horribly wrong. You know?
As someone who writes handwritten notes at work every day, because I'm weird like that, I feel bad for him. Because once you become a handwritten note guy, every time you put that pen to paper, it's somebody's thinking.
Any coach who loses, like, and if they have like a thing that they do, like Jason Garrett, wasn't he the clapper? Like
Jason Garrett would just start clapping.
There's always they get made fun of, but it's the Fuente era, like, he didn't have the personality. And so then Pry comes in. I think this is what you're getting at. Like, he comes in with the personality and the all shucks, like, Southwest Virginia thing. Like, I learned from Coach Beamer, I learned from Bud, and it's like, okay, all right, this is our guy.
I was on Bourbon Street in '95 with J.C. Price. Like,
that's right.
It all sounds good, you know?
It all sounds good, and he's done so many things right. And the next thing I want to do on this show is just let's talk about some of the positives heading into 2025, because we've talked a lot about the negatives. So if there are reasons for optimism, one is that, like, Pry has done, I want to say, 85% of the things right that he needs to do and say. But it really has come down to the in-game coaching and some of the hires that have failed him. And then that has led to now where we're struggling in narrative and recruiting and all the rest of it. But the positive is that, like, he does do a lot of the little things right. Like getting the fans to like you, shaking the right hands, engaging people, being honest with people. As far as I can tell, he seems like a fairly honest guy. But that's one thing. Do you guys have any positives going into 2025? Let's kind of flip this. Let's flip what we've been talking about and give me some positives.
Sam.
I think they managed to turn a rebuilding year into a reloading year. I don't think the talent drop-off is that significant. On the offensive side of the ball, I don't think it's much at all. Obviously, losing Tootin is going to be tough, but running back is one of the more replaceable positions in the sport of football. And then defensively, I think you had some really talented players that had some bad plays and had a tendency to have bad plays over multiple years. And I think you brought in 2 really good defensive ends that are going to shock some people. So I don't think the talent level of this team has dropped very much from last year. If they can learn how to win and they have better coaching at the coordinator positions and they have a much better offensive line coach, you could see this team improve year over year. And I'm going to ask you guys this because I just thought of it. And this is ridiculous because he's never coached a game here. Is Phil Montgomery the most proven and best offensive coordinator Tech has had in the 21st century? Because he might be. And it's a really low bar, but I couldn't think of one that had more pedigree or more success.
Who was the guy who went to or came from Wisconsin? Well, I'm blanking on his name.
Joe
Offensive
Rudolph.
line coach?
Yeah,
Rudolph.
offensive line coach. Say again?
Yeah.
Joe
Rudolph. Yeah.
Joe Rudolph. That's right. Like, I think I agree with you, Sam, because we never really saw Joe Rudolph do anything. Like
He's
Joe
just
Rudolph
saying,
never did anything.
he's saying OC though.
OC. Yeah.
OC.
Offensive
But
coordinator.
I knew what you're getting at, but just he had the pedigree. He would be a coach that we
He had
hired
a pedigree,
that had a
yeah.
pedigree. But
Yeah,
in terms of an OC, who's coming in that's more proven, or proven's not the right word, experience, like been around the block than Phil Montgomery?
Oh, in
I
the
don't
last
think I
20
have one.
years?
No one.
No one.
Yeah.
Not even close. And so that's something for me. It's like whatever Virginia Tech's talent level is and whatever we are as a program, I don't think we've had the experience at a coordinator position like we're going to get with Phil Montgomery. And maybe his ceiling isn't, Lane Kiffin and stuff like that, but I think his floor is a lot higher. We'll see about Sam Seifkis. I mean, they're doing the same song and dance with the brand new young coach that they are with Sam Seifkis. We'll see. I hope he's awesome. I think he's going to be pretty good. But I just think that's something to keep in mind for this season. Like, Virginia Tech has never had an offensive line coach, offensive coordinator combination with a returning quarterback like they have this year. It just hasn't happened for this program.
I
What do you
honestly,
got in terms of a positive, Grayson?
this is going to sound really weird. I honestly think that Metallica clip of them playing Enter Sandman was probably one of the best things that could have happened this offseason in terms of morale. Like, it's inversely football related. Like, I saw that and I'm like, shit, man, I'm ready for football season again. Like, after being so dejected, I saw that clip and I'm like, damn, dude, look at Lane Stadium. No, in terms of the actual program itself, again, not to sound disrespectful, I really think that the guys who left this offseason from Virginia Tech and transferred out of the program, don't take this the wrong way, should have. And like straight up, I think the coaching staff kind of knowing, like, okay, we want to bring in some new guys because maybe some of the pieces we have right now, maybe it's not that they're not good enough, but they're not getting it done. Or maybe don't have a serious future here for what we're trying to do. And as a fan, I appreciate that. And I saw that. So that makes me more optimistic. Like, that is one of the positive changes that I've seen this offseason where I'm like, okay, good. Like, that's happening. And then, I mean, obviously we've already said it ad nauseum on here, just the fact that Pry was able to get a new offensive coordinator and a new defensive coordinator and a new offensive line coach.
Yeah. And I would say that one of the biggest could be at strength and conditioning.
Yeah.
And Jared Ferguson as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, that could make a gigantic difference because everything I've heard, whether it be on a message board or in a text or just talking to other Hokie fans, like, he's working those guys maybe more than they've been worked. And that's what we needed more than anything else. So that would be positive for me. I also think you already mentioned Matt Moore a little bit, but and the transfers that he brought in, like, you can't get, as I said, you can't get offensive line transfers. So getting a coach who can bring 3 guys with him, like, that's massive.
Remack is a much, much better player than he's getting credit for from Tech fans right now. He's a beast. And to also bring in a highly touted freshman in Gavin Crawford, who's highly touted as well. They brought in 2 other guys. Kyle Altuner will probably start at center. Like, offensive line, I have a little bit more hope in than other people do, just because I think the quality of coaching and the quality of player is substantially higher.
Can it be worse? Like, that's my thing.
They won 6 games. It could be worse. Oh, it could be way worse. It could be way, way worse.
Okay.
Did you see UVA last year?
Yeah, I know. No,
Did you see Wake Forest?
I'm not saying can it be worse. Like, I'm saying based on who we had, who left, who's coming in. Like for us, can it be worse? I guess it could.
Like the SpongeBob scene where he's like, "I don't think this bubble can get any bigger." Nonsense.
Nonsense.
Yeah, I am cursing us right now by saying that, but no, I just think like
no, I think you're starting tackle injuring your quarterback twice. Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's going to happen again.
There's a guy, there's a couple guys on last year's offensive line that should have never been playing, honest to God, never been playing, right. And so making the whole thing all brand new, I don't think it's a negative. I really don't, especially when the coach is proven and putting guys in the NFL in multiple drafts in the last couple of years. So I think that's a positive. Grayson, you have anything else?
Honestly, I mean, I think you guys really have covered all the bases. I agree with every aforementioned point that y'all have made. Nothing really.
I think, Sam, you said something about the time slots.
Yeah, we have a lot of night games. I think that'll really help out, especially with how the ACC is doing revenue sharing. So if you don't know, the cliff notes of it is part of the revenue sharing from the ACC, from the TV deal, will be based upon viewership. So the more viewership you get, the more money you get. And if you have night games, that helps you out a whole lot. Especially if you have what are called island games in the business, which are, that game against South Carolina is an island game. You have a night game.
That should pull a big number.
Week 2. And then you have the Friday night game against Cal. That'll be pretty big as well. So all of those things will be really good for Virginia Tech. And I think that is if this team is good this year, not great, but good, that will be taking advantage of a good opportunity financially for the program.
Yeah, that's a good point. And the schedule in itself is favorable, right? That's a good thing. It's a favorable schedule. That Cal game you're thinking about coming to, Grayson, that's one of the more winnable games on the schedule. I think Justin Wilcox is but their whole team got gutted. We should be able to win that game.
Mm-hmm.
If there was one guy on the team you guys were pumped to watch next year, who is it?
James Joncom.
You're going.
I'm sorry, damn it.
No, Joncom's
James
good.
Joncom. Yeah, that's my answer.
Oh, good Lord. James Joncom is a great pick. Dude, it's I'm drawing a blank because there's so many new names. You know what? The tandem duo of Chance Wiggins and Brody Adams.
Yeah. We do need some wide receivers to step up.
6 and 7, dude. I can't wait to watch those kids play.
So you're excited about the young guys because we've got some older guys that came in as transfers, and Aiden Green, he's not that young anymore either. He's been around him for a minute. So the two young guys, I definitely want to see what Brody's going to do. Hopefully he's all good after his little injury at the end of the spring or whatever, or end of last year. And then Chance, we've been hearing good stuff out of camp, for a couple years now with him. Yeah. And so it'd be great to see those guys blow up. I think for me, I'm obviously watching those defensive ends, Sam, Ben Bell and Joncom, but Caleb Woodson would be my number one. And I'm just really excited with that player to see what that guy could end up being. I'm happy we held on to him because he seemed to me like one of those candidates for a portal jump.
Yeah,
you guys remember that touchdown run against Miami? That was totally a touchdown. That was so sick.
Yeah. That was a prelude, back,
right?
Yeah, Pearson, PJ Prelude.
Oh, that was PJ, dude. It's been a long time. Wow.
Yeah. PJ. Yeah, there was the holding call.
Yeah, there was a phantom holding call. Tech scored on that drive anyways, but there was a phantom holding call there.
There's so many things in that game because then the Caleb Spencer had. Was he the one that returned it and then got tackled by the tight end? Then we couldn't get in.
Then we couldn't get it. Yeah. The reality of that game was if Tech would have completed one of those sacks against Cam Ward, they would have won the game.
Yep. That pitch out to the tight end that they. Oh my God. Anyway,
where he's falling down or
whatever. We're supposed to end it on positive notes, guys.
Yeah. My bad.
No, but I'm excited to watch Caleb Woodson, a linebacker. I'm excited to watch all the guys you mentioned, and there's. who did you just say?
Is Gabe Williams going to be healthy next year?
Well, at least he's running, right? And he was in the weight room videos. Like I think he had the horn, like shooting off the sound horn.
I don't know if he's going to be full go. It would be late in the season. My guess is they're going to medical redshirt him because that's a pretty nasty injury to come back from. Right. But he, like, in a football sense, looks great. Like, he looks like a guy who's still been working out. So good for him. We wish him all the best because he seems like an awesome guy and a very good player. So.
Sure. It's a little bit later in the show, and I was going to kind of end with just like asking about Metallica, and maybe we can do that. But here's a good question for you guys. Grayson, if you had full control of Virginia Tech football starting tomorrow, and you're like, I'm going to get us back, things within reason that you could do, what would be your first like couple of steps that you would take to get football back on the right track?
How honest do you want me to be?
I want you to be honest. We're an hour and 20 minutes in, so.
I mean, I think you have to have a serious conversation with the board of visitors about our athletic director. That I think it starts there. It always starts at the top, and then you have to have a nice little sit down with our president and be like, "Listen, man, this is everything. Like, football is everything, and we need you to wake up and smell that coffee based on what you said about us being a basketball school. This year, that might be the case." Shout out Mike Young. Love Mike Young. Bring back Stick It In. Really got to start there. Bring back Stick It In. We've seen a stark decline ever since that went away.
Yeah, the important stuff. Bring that back.
I mean, they kind of if there's children listening, plug the ears. They blue balled us with that against in the UNC game back in 2019. But yeah, I would say it really starts at the top, making some administration changes, not just the AD, but just within Merriman. Get rid of a few people who I will not call them out by name, but you know who I'm thinking about. And I'm all about letting Pry have this season. Do what you got to do, and you can have that conversation when the fat lady sings in December, and you kind of see where we're at, because it could go well, and I could be so wrong. But I really do think after this season, I'm ready for administration changes in Merriman Athletic Center. That's
totally fair. And like, I didn't know how specific you wanted to get or not get, but I think everyone's thinking the same thing.
Sure.
And I've already made my position clear that like, it's not like I'm firing anybody, but like, to me, there's no point in continuing a charade that we know how it's going to end.
I agree.
With Brent Pry, though, I also agree with you that like even if we got rid of the AD tomorrow, I like the changes that were made to the staff. I want to see us go up against the South Carolina team and see what we're made of. I want to see us come home in Lane and beat Diego Pavia with Pry. I want to see those things. I think there's other changes that could be made that could improve where we're at. I think back to the Vanderbilt game. As we could circle it all the way back to the beginning of this conversation. When you wake up Sunday morning and you're Mahul, like, how must you be feeling on that morning? Like, our number one investor, for lack of a better term, and you wake up after being 2 touchdown favorites and you lose. Like, if I'm in his shoes, or if I'm in any big donor shoes, and I
Steve
see
Johnson or whoever,
gone on these last 2 years, 3 years, whatever it is, I would be putting my foot down. Like, you're not getting another cent until this shit goes down.
If you're Jay Pearson, Mehul Sangani, Steve Johnson, any of the people in the president's circle who have donated $5 million or more to the university and have a building named after them on campus, if I wake up that Sunday, and I still felt this way, even though I have not donated that much, you like, if I'm Mr. Sangani, like, I would feel played for a damn fool. Like, I would feel kind of friggin' stupid, and not like, that's not an indictment on him. I would just feel dumb. It's like, wow, they convinced me to pony up all that money to get these guys to stick around here, and we go out and we lose to Vanderbilt in week 1 at Vanderbilt. I wouldn't be happy. And let me just, I'll end with this. to anyone listening to this podcast, I'm a diehard Virginia Tech fan. I have been my entire life. There is no one outside of maybe these two here and a few other people in the community who wants Brent Pry to succeed more than I do. I really do. I want us to win every game. Based on what I've seen of these last few years, my confidence has been shattered. A lot of these things that I put on the internet, they're made to make me feel better and not taken too seriously. I think I agree with Pete when he said there's probably a few of them that I'd like to have back. Maybe I didn't mean as much, but at the end of the day, I love Virginia Tech. I'm so proud of where I went to school. I'm so proud to be a third generation Hokie. I'm so proud that I got to grow up with the memories that I got of the Michael Vicks, even the Grant Knowles, the Brian Randalls, the Tyrod Taylors, the Logan Thomas, all the way up, Mark Leal, Corey Holt, whatever it is, So proud to be a Virginia Tech fan. And I want what's best, like everybody else. I want to win football games, y'all. It's real simple. That's it.
That's well said, and we agree with you wholeheartedly. And I think Sam said that at some point last year. Is like, I don't really care about the noise or the bullshit. Like, I just want to win some games. Like, can I just win more than 6 games in a season? Something we haven't done since 2019. I'm not counting the Tulane Bowl win. I'm not counting it. I want to win 7 games in the regular season or more. That's what I want, because it's been a long freaking time. And that's not a high bar in the ACC. It's just not.
It's not. And I think that is like, it's not impossible. Like, I feel like this has felt like an impossible climb because of the decade that we've had. It's really not an impossible climb. And you are a few plays away from the success that you want to have. And everyone's 0-0. And that scoreboard is going to start 0-0 in Atlanta, no matter what happened last year, no matter what TikTok Shane Beamer makes, and no matter how much hype Lenore Sellers gets. It's like, that scoreboard starts 0-0. And there's nothing in the rule book that says Virginia Tech can't go out and win that game. So you just got to go out and do it.
After the year is what we're looking for, because it's happened many times in college football. A team is supposed to have a good season, they lose a bunch of close games, and then the year that wasn't supposed to be so good, the following year ends up being better. And that's what we all want. Despite some of the conversation, despite us dissecting the narratives that are around Virginia Tech, that's what we want. And so this has been a lot of fun. We got some positives in there, got to drink some beer and get to hang out. But Grayson, thank you for coming on. This won't be the last time. And even if you don't make it to Atlanta, which I'm assuming you will not, we'll get up this year. We will try to meet up at some point, whether it's Cal or something, because I'm going to be down. I'll go to too many games, as I always do. I'll spend too much money on this team, but we'll have some fun this year.
Well, listen, guys, I appreciate y'all. I'm a huge fan of Two Deep Under the Influence. Y'all do incredible work, as I mentioned. Shout out to you guys. Shout out to the Sons of Saturday Network. I'm not with the Sons anymore, but I'm very proud of being a co-founder of the Sons of Saturday podcast. Shout out to Pat. Shout out to Billy Ray. And shout out to Liz Kitley, man. She got waived by the Las Vegas Aces. We saw that today. That was a bummer. But she and George Amore reunited the other night. I saw that on Instagram. They were like together when the Mystics played what's called Aces. Yeah. And so they were back together again. So that was really cool to see. And man, I mean,
who's to say the Mystics aren't going to claim her?
People have been saying that. So who knows? But
it'd be kind of cool.
It would be kind of cool.
They would sell a lot of tickets if they did that.
They would, especially in the Hokies in the DC area. Yeah. We will get up. If I come to Cal, I will let you know. And then as we kind of approach the season, I'll see you around.
Sounds great, man. All right. Well, thank you guys for listening. If you made it to the end of the chat, let's what do we want to put in the comment there? What's our
Hollywood?
Hollywood. In the comments on YouTube.
There you go. Fine.
If you made it to the end, and we appreciate you. And make sure you subscribe, Sons of Saturday on YouTube, the Two Deep podcast feed on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, as well as what they got going on over there on the Sons of Saturday feed. And until next time, go Hokies.
Go Hokies.